Today was the last day of Improv for Actors 1. I'm saying this is going to be like my last time here in Chicago, but I will be just taking a step back. I know I have to I have the opportunity to come back because I took Improv for Actors 1, which lasted for 8 weeks, sorry, 7 weeks that we just completed today. And then you can take Improv for Actors 2, which is another 7 weeks. After that, if you have those two credits, if you've taken those two classes, then you can audition for conservatory. And conservatory is the professional improv classes where you start to uh, well, actually, I don't know what they do. I just know conservatory. That's the where the pros go. If you really want to be here on the stages and perform sketch shows, improv shows here at Second City. But after taking improv one, and improv one is just the basis. If you've never taken an improv class, if you want to experience it, improv one, just that. There's improv for people with anxiety. Improv. There's like for writers. There's classes for writers, and you learn improv practices there. But improv one, I said I want to start at the base, the principal foundation. So I took that class. I took improv 1A and 1B. That lasted for 8 weeks, and then I was like, all right, let's audition for improv for actors because you do have to apply for it. Not audition, you have to apply for it. So I just sent in my resume. If you're a working actor, if you studied, if you have a theater degree, whatever it may be. The My classmates, my friends that I made um, in improv for actors, they have studied it in school, in university. Some are working actors. Some just sent in their resume and they got accepted. So I, I definitely recommend if you're an actor who wants to apply more improv practices towards scene work, towards emotion, developing a relationship to yourself, to your scene partner, establishing the environment and the physicality. And yeah, this is this is it. So I'm really just trying to take this in. It's going to be a while before I come back. I'll probably come back during the summer, hopefully during the summer, but I'm going to take some time off. I do travel 5 hours to this school, the Second City here in Chicago, their training center, learning improv, and it's a 3 hour class, but it, you know, it takes a great instructor to also do this, but obviously the craft of what you're doing, where 3 hours just truly feels like 45 minutes. It goes by so fast, mainly because we're interacting with each other, we're having fun, we're playing. Now, the whole point of me making this vlog and documenting the journey of becoming an improviser is how I call it. Um, Simply just sharing my thoughts on what I learned in class, what I felt could have gone better, what I challenged myself on, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. Just because it's the last class doesn't mean I'm the best improviser out there so far. I still have another improv for actors too. There's still another 7 weeks to go, and regardless, even if you're in conservatory, where the pros are, there are always moments that you make mistakes, whether you deny someone's reality, meaning that you don't yes and their gift, their suggestion that they give you. There's so many things that you can mess up on, regardless of the stage, if you're a beginner or a professional. And so, yeah, today's last class, we went over emotion. And the game that we played was an activity plus emotion, meaning that it would be you and another scene partner, and the instructor, whoever, would give you an activity to do, make it a little bit more easier on you. So you're already establishing your environment. You know, you could be washing dishes, so you start to pantomime that. He says, do that for a few beats, and then I'm going to give you an emotion, meaning do this mad, or do this like you're grossed out, or do this like you're amused, and do that, and then have that moment for a few beats, look at your scene partner, and then begin your line of dialogue, and then improvise. And so this really worked on emotion. What I got from this and what he said, the whole premise of this idea, because we did 3 different versions, and I'll go over that here in a second, but he talked about how the whole purpose of giving an emotion, like I say, try to do this all throughout the scene of being angry, being upset, amused, whatever it is. It's difficult because we're human and we want to progress in our emotions. We don't want to just stay in one emotion. But he just said, challenge yourself to do that. So he said the purpose of giving you an emotion is to give you a subtext, meaning, whether you're an actor, improviser, whatever it may be, there's always subtext. A human being, there's always subtext to what you say in conversation. And this, what I mean by this is that when we speak, when we have any casual conversation, whether it's to our friend, whether we're actually acting on set with a scene partner, you're saying one thing, but you might mean another. You could say, I love you. And someone says, love you too. Boom, you're like, okay, why'd you say it like that? What did you mean to say? So there's always subtext. What are you not saying? So that's the purpose of giving the emotion. This is something that you could try out with a friend. You could start doing an activity, establish the environment. It makes it more grounded than have an emotion. Now, I remember doing this game, and my instructor Tom, amazing. If you ever see Tom Rhodes, he's the best instructor. He's my first instructor. There's probably really good other ones here, but he's my only instructor, and he's an amazing instructor. But he gave us the emotion of playing it grossed out, and throughout the scene, I left that emotion quickly just because it didn't feel natural to me. And he said that's totally fine. It's just something to give you some substance through your scene to feel more grounded. Now the or what did I write down in my notes the whole purpose of me doing these, as well as I have a podcast called Actors Notes, and after class, I mean during class, I'll write down notes and I talk about those notes to see maybe you have experienced what I've experienced. I'm like, ooh, that was a good point, I'm gonna write that down. That's the whole point of my podcast, Actors Notes. I'm gonna leave a link down in the description below. I'd love for you to check that out. But what I wrote down here is that, oh yeah, subtext. And you don't have to feel that emotion. Ooh, this was a good one too. If you do this game, the emotion that you give yourself or someone gives you, whether that's mad, grossed out, amused, you don't have to feel that towards your other partner. You can just feel that within yourself. So if you're mad, you don't have to be mad at them. You can be mad at yourself. You can be mad at the object work or the activity that you are doing. So just play with that. The second version that we did of this was we had two people. Person A will initiate saying, I feel blank, I feel nervous, I feel calm, I feel giddy, I feel whatever it may be, just making sure it's genuine in that moment. If your heart is thump thump thump, I don't even know what the word is, you can say, I'm feeling nervous right now. Just whatever you feel in that moment. And then person B will say, you feel and whatever you said. So they will repeat back to you. This is a very Meisner approach. And Sanford Meisner is just one of the acting gods, if you will. There's Uta Hagen, Sanford Meisner, Stella Adler. There's so many great acting techniques with acting teachers all throughout the history of performing arts. But yes, person B will say you feel whatever person A said, and then you will begin. Meaning this still gives you some subtexts. This keeps you grounded because you're kind of like wave. It's like a wave. It's already started. You're not slowly rising. You're falling from a rise, if you will. So something's already happened. Meaning you had an emotion. They repeated your emotion, and then you begin the scene. So it gives you a little bit more depth to your scene. All about specificity. The third version that we did with this was an observation. So person A would say, "You look," to person B, and they would say an observation. You're wearing a red sweater. You look kind of nervous right now. Anything really, and they would repeat it, and then person B would start it. So if I told you, as I'm person A, you look happy. You're person B, and you said, I am happy. I'm happy because today's such a beautiful day, and I didn't poop myself today. Don't play with toilet humor. I don't know why I always go with toilet humor. That's one thing that Tom, my instructor, talks about. He says, don't play with toilet humor. I'm like, all right. But I don't know why it's a habit. I also flirt in my scenes a lot. I don't know why I do that. If you ever do an improv scene, just know I might just flirt with you for no apparent reason, over nothing. Um, so those were the three versions that we did. And it's just all to ground you. Like I keep talking about specificity, and that's one of the biggest lessons that I've learned all throughout Improv 1 and Improv for Actors 1, just about being specific. What is your relationship? What is your environment? And what are you doing? What is the object work that your environment has affected you to do? And what's your relationship to your partner? Are you mother, son? Are you president and butler? Do presidents have butlers? I think they do. They're in there. And so we really worked towards that for the first half of class, for the hour and a half, just about emotion and just making sure we're establishing that relationship, environment, and activity. That's something that if you ever come into an improv class, setting those three things. Who are you? What are you doing? And where are you? Those are three things that you can ask yourself as an improviser and you can ask yourself as an actor. Those are really good questions. Then for the second half, I love this. I wish we would do this more in our lives, but we really sat in a circle and we kind of complimented each other. It was really nice. Uh, Not all instructors would do this, but we just sat in a circle and just talked about our experiences, what we liked, about the scenes that we were a part of, and it was a nice moment to have a community like that. That's one of the biggest things here I learned at the Second City. Just you're with people who are also pursuing not the same goals that you are, but they experience the same mistakes. They're learning the same things at their own level, but we're still starting from zero. We're all still students. This is still class 1 and we're learning together. No one's ahead of each other. You find people who are absolute. I mean, people who've been doing improv for 10 years, people who are working actors, who've been on sets, who have probably been the places where you want to go. But you're still in improv class. It's still a classroom. You're there to learn together. You meet someone who has experienced the things that your goals where you want to be. Just know you're in a classroom. You're learning together. Oh, yes, improv. It's about validating another person's suggestion. It's about saying yes to them. No matter where are you, it doesn't matter how much work you have done or haven't done. When you do an improv scene, you discover something together. You say yes to them, they say yes to you. If you say something silly or you feel like you said something that a professional actor or improviser would never say, so what? They're just gonna they're always 100% going to agree with you. Now, it doesn't always happen. I mean, if you're still learning together, if you have two people who have never done improv before, some people might say no, they might reject your reality. You're still working on this together. Um, the funny thing is that I have to drive back tonight. It's such a beautiful moment to see this city, the second city, traveling 5 hours here, booking my first feature film, using the actual, like, this stuff works. Like, I've implemented improv into the scenes that I do. And let me tell you, it's saved me from so many times because it's put me in the moment and just listening. And with whatever little information or a lot of information that a character or just a human being in a regular conversation will give me, I know how to use that, validate it, and just add on to it. That's something that, shoot, that's something that we just don't do in our everyday lives. We're a lot of no butters. The whole point of improv is yes and actually the rule of improv is that there are no rules, but we do have a set of rules to follow. But you got to know those rules in order to break them. And just saying yes and adding on top of someone's idea, regardless of how weird, unique, amazing it is such a beautiful thing to see because it allows you to take a risk in your actions, a risk in what you might say, and knowing that they're going to agree with you and you're going to agree with them. I feel like that's just how we should live our everyday lives. That's really it for today's class. I mean, at the end, our instructor Tom said, "Hey, what games you guys want to play?" So we just had fun and we just played and we laughed. Uh, very tired. So I'm probably going to make another video kind of summarizing everything I learned here at the Second City. But one of the biggest things I keep reminding myself of, whether I'm in a scene or when I'm not here and I really want to be because I love improv, is to remind myself to have fun. Remind yourself just to have fun, to play. And that was a term, that was a word we used so many times. Just to play. Just to play. Play with them like kids. I feel like we lost, all of us have grown up into adults, but a lot of us have grown up into adults and we've lost touch with our inner child. And you can conversely say that a lot of us are just still children in adult bodies, but we've lost our imagination. We lost our creativity. That's why I feel like you should start posting your journey and documenting your journey. You don't have to do improv or travel anywhere. You can pursue anything that you want, whether it's acting, whether it's fitness, whether it's content creation, whatever it is, put it out there. Document the journey. This entire video is unedited for a reason, just to show you the truth on what I'm feeling, on what you might be feeling, and that's how we can relate and connect. And to whoever is watching this, my mom, thank you, Mom. I love you, Mom. Whoever else is watching this, I just want to say, shoot, I could say a lot, but just don't forget to have fun, play. Don't lose touch with your inner child. You know when you're having fun because you just get lost in the moment. Some of the best things I've ever done weren't the ones where I knew, okay, I have to establish the relationship now in the first two lines, and then okay, here's the environment that I'm going to be physical with this object work. No, the best things I did, I don't even remember doing. But people came up to me, our classmates, me and my seat partner, they came up to us. They said, "Dude, that scene you did, oh my god, I could watch that for an hour, a whole show." I was like, "Dude, we were just up there having fun, goofing around." Do that. Goof around in your life. Please don't lose touch with your inner child. And that's something that acting, improvising, content creation, everything that I'm pursuing, that I hope you're pursuing, can give you. And in case no one has told you today, I love you, you matter, you have value. And let me say something I haven't said before, I just said it again. Well, if you feel like you have lost some creativity or imagination, maybe it's because you have lost touch with your inner child. You need to reflect on that. And call your mom. Tell her you love her. Or your dad. Or your brother or sister. Grandma. Whoever you have in your life. I'm going to drive back to Kentucky now for a 5-hour drive because I have a commercial at 9 a.m., which is absolutely crazy to say that I just took an improv class in Chicago at the Second City. Now tomorrow I have a commercial, early morning commercial. And who knows, maybe I might just do some improv. This stuff does work. I highly recommend it. It works in the sense of giving you time to play, to listen, to communicate. I love you. I'll see you in the next one.